Another thing that we always did on the boat is we had watching shifts. There is a viewing platform on top of the boat where 3 people viewing in every direction. Each one of us would view a 120-degree angle. And when I was on that platform, someone spotted the blow of a fin whale. 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, it blows. But we had the hydrophone in the water again. And it actually turned out it wasn't a fin whale, it were Cuvier's beaked whales.
Inside this tube, it's where the magic happens. The tube is let's say a soft rubber tube. Then you see all this little red-orange net, which is just there to keep all the cables together, because if the cables move, they will generate clicking and noise, which is of course annoying. But then all the important bits are this part here, and this little guy down here. These are 2 microphones. We put them in the water, so we call them hydrophones. That's pretty much it. This is the microphone, and each microphone has got a little amplifier that makes the generated sounds, or the received sounds, let's say, a little bit more intense, so they can travel along the 200 meters of cable and reach the boat at the right intensity, the right energy, and so forth. I say it's magic because the sound is a mechanical stimulus. It's a wave that travels through the water, and then it's transformed into an electric signal, and then again into something that we can listen to and visualize on the computer. It's a little bit like magic, so I like the idea. So now we're gonna throw it in the water.
We waited for about an hour, and eventually we saw the whale resurface. And it wasn't actually just one whale, it was 4. There were 2 darker ones and 2 lighter ones that were swimming in the back. These whales live in small groups of 2 to 7 individuals. We saw 4 that day, so that's a pretty normal size of group, and they can live up to 60 years. This is extremely rare. Cuvier's beaked whales are not rare animals necessarily, but it's extremely rare to see them because they go for extremely long dives, longer than 3 hours sometimes, and they resurface for just very little time. Most of the time, just 15 minutes, if you're lucky, 20. And that is also the reason why they are so understudied compared to other cetaceans. But this day, we got so lucky because these whales went for really short dives, like 20 minutes, and then they resurfaced for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. But the craziest thing is that we saw them 3 more times that day, which was just, again, it's indescribable. That day, I was the one responsible for doing the dishes and all the food preparation. I was always in the kitchen. And then we waited for the Cuvier's beaked whales, and we waited and we waited. I was like, okay, I still have like a bowl to clean, so let's just go in the kitchen very quickly, clean the bowl, and then come back up. And of course, once I was in the kitchen, below deck, guess who popped up? The Cuvier's beaked whales. They resurfaced. So luckily, they were so nice to call me. I was running up the kitchen, grabbed my camera, and was ready to film the whales. And that happened a couple of times because they took such short dives. We also saw a sea turtle. The water was so still that you could see every little movement of the turtle.
Oh wow.
And it was magical. The water's so still. It's incredible. Wow, beautiful. And on our way back, we saw striped dolphins again. But this time, this group had babies. At first, I thought it was just one baby, but after reviewing the footage, I saw at least two. So there might have been 2, 3, maybe more baby striped dolphins. And you could really tell because this group of dolphins, they didn't come as close to the boat as the dolphins we saw the other day. They kind of stayed a little further away because usually striped dolphins are really curious animals, but these wanted to keep their distance a bit, understandably, because they had calves. The gestation period of striped dolphins is a year. So gestation period means the duration of the pregnancy. So striped dolphins are pregnant for an entire year. They give birth every 3 to 4 years to just one calf. And once a calf is born, it drinks milk from its mom for around 18 months. And this is called the lactation period. And that day, we really spent the whole day outside. We got back at like 7 p.m. in the evening. The next day, unfortunately, the waves were high again. But in the morning, it actually wasn't that bad. So we decided to head out again, but we also stayed relatively close to the coastline. This time we were looking for bottlenose dolphins. Bottlenose dolphins are a species of dolphins that live close to the coastline, and they're very understudied compared to the striped dolphins. Bottlenose dolphins were the ones we saw the first day, but we couldn't photo ID them or anything because we then had to head back. But no luck this day. Didn't see any bottlenose dolphins, but we took a sample of the water. Sometimes the scientists take water samples to measure the pH, the water pressure, the temperature, and so on to kind of see, okay, is the water healthy? Is this normal? And we went a bit further out and dropped the hydrophone in the water, and we heard sperm whales clicking. It was confirmed on the hydrophone that we had 2 sperm whales communicating with each other. So naturally, we went in the direction of the clicks. Unfortunately, we had to turn around because the waves were getting extremely bad. It was so bad, it was not comparable to the other days before. One of my friends took a footage of the boat moving. Trust me, in the footage it looks like it's so calm, but it was like this. It was completely turning almost vertically. It was crazy. We had to hold on as tightly as we could to things because it was moving so crazily. We were pissed that we couldn't find the sperm whales, but it was the safest decision to make to go back into the harbor. That day, I got an email from a university that I applied to for a master's program that I got invited to an interview. I had to select a time slot for the interview and then write them an email which time slot I selected. And out there on the ocean, I didn't have any reception. So I was actually kind of lucky that we decided to go back into the harbor. But then, like right before we got into the harbor, our entrance got blocked by a huge yacht. At first, I thought it was a cruise ship because it was that big. But then we Googled it, and it turns out this belonged to like an ex-Ukrainian politician. But whatever, this yacht took so long to get into the harbor because it was so huge that we waited there for at least 30 to 45 minutes. It was insane, but I have to give credit to the captain of the yacht because he managed to park that huge yacht like 2 meters close to other yachts. It had a happy ending. We got back into the harbor and Nina was so kind to allow me to use the computer to send my email. I got accepted into the master's program, so it all had a happy ending. Day 6 was probably the craziest day of this entire trip. We went out really early in the morning and we got so lucky because again, the water was really calm. I was up on the viewing platform when one of the research assistants spotted the blow of a fin whale again. Fin whales have a very high blow. They can blow up to 6 meters, so you can see it from quite a far distance. But I was looking around, scanning the horizon, and I didn't see it. And I wasn't the only one who didn't see it, but a lot of people did see it, so maybe our eyes are just bad. They saw the blow of the fin whale around every 15 minutes.
Roby 80 gradi. Un po' di distanza. 80.
So naturally we went into the direction of the blows.
Almeno 400 metri di distanza. 400.
But fin whales are really fast when they're traveling. They can go 35 kilometers an hour, and you don't know where they're going to pop up next. So they could go this way or that way. So it's really hard to figure out where they're going, especially when they're traveling and going that far. We wanted to find the fin whale, but the fin whale didn't want to be found. And that's okay, because that's nature. Even though it sucks and you want to find the fin whale, sometimes you can't, and it's okay. Nature is not a zoo where you can just look at the animals whenever you want, even though the animals might not want to. But here animals are free, and they can decide if they want to get away from us or if they want to get close to us. And I think that's very fair to leave that decision to the animals. So unfortunately, no fin whale. But at the same time, I'm telling you, this day was crazy. At the same time, we heard the sounds of the Cuvier's beaked whales again. So their calls are very high. They're above 20 kilohertz, which the human ear can't hear. So we could only see their calls on the spectrogram that is created from the sounds that the hydrophone picks up, but we can't hear them. But what we can do to still be able to hear the sound is to slow it down. Because what happens when you slow down a clip, once you play it in slow motion?
It gets deeper, right?
So when we slow down these extremely high calls of the Cuvier's beaked whales, they are deeper so we can hear them. We went into the direction of the sounds that they made, and then one of the whales got so extremely close to us. It went under our boat. So I was on this side. I was like, oh no, the whale's going under us. So I ran on the other side of the boat. And filmed when the whale popped up, did his blow, the poof, and then went back down. I was speechless.
This
will never happen again in your life.
You know, from a distance, they kind of look like dolphins a bit. But when they're this close, you can actually see how big they are. They're very little whales, but they're still like 6-7 meters long. And then when you hear the breathing, and it's so deep, you can, it takes your breath away. It's truly, truly stunning. And their blow is really, really small. So it is hard to spot a Cuvier's beaked whale from the distance. It is easier to see them on the spectrogram of the hydrophone. This sighting of the Cuvier's beaked whales was the 5th sighting in this entire year. So you can imagine how rare it is to spot one. There was one participant on the boat who was there for a couple of times already, and he said the last time he saw the Cuvier's beaked whales was in 2013. And on that day, we saw the whales again. At the same time that we saw the Cuvier's beaked whales, we heard the clicks of sperm whales for the second time. But this time, we had better chances of finding them because the water was so incredibly calm. So we didn't have to head back to the harbor. We could stay out longer and follow the sounds.